So, welcome to 5 Minutes in the Shed, episode 2-ish, 15, 14, I don't know, of tearing the engine apart. So, right, I've been having a tinker, right, off camera, because obviously like I said on the last video, I've never taken one of these apart before. So, I thought it was important for me to kind of educate myself, read a book, see how all this stuff's supposed to come apart. Yesterday, when on the last episode, I said we need to take the clutch off, and the clutch basket out, and the flywheel off, yeah, all that sort of stuff, so we can split the crankcases, right? So I've been looking into that, looking into ways of locking the engine and stuff, so we can get the spanner on and turn those off. I've also got myself a little tray to organise the nuts and bolts. There's a lot of nuts and bolts, little washers and things that you have to get in the right place on these, I've noticed. So yeah, just being really careful with organising all that. Taking the final drive sprocket off out of the way, that's just 2 bolts. So I've taken all of the bolts and things off the clutch cover. There's one seal I need to take off there, but all the nuts and bolts are out of it now. Last thing was the water impeller. Right, now I had to ask someone on an internet forum how to take it off because I couldn't undo it. There's like a dome nut inside there on the impeller. Now I thought that dome nut was separate to the impeller, but it's not. It's one bit. All right, so you have to undo the whole thing, and to undo it, then you have to hold that worm gear here tight. All right, now that's something I could have done it on the engine, but there's a nylon cog on that. I didn't want to break the plastic, right? And I read on the internet that these often crack, so I was a bit worried about that. Anyway, I couldn't undo it, right? So I asked on the internet for them to check it wasn't left-hand thread or something weird. Anyway, it's not. You just have to hold this really tight, all right? So I got some aluminium soft jaws in my vise, grabbed it in the vise really hard. Put a socket on that and it came loose, so that's loose now. So that can come out in a minute. So it might just come out now. Yeah, it's finger tight, so that should, if I undo that, should pull out. Just check and look for washers because there's washers on everything. Okay, so yeah, there's some sort of washer on that. I'm going to put that one in there, and then that, is that a washer? Doesn't look like it. Ooh. Right, that comes out like that. That goes in there. I might even screw that back in a little bit. There we go. So what have we got in that hole now? We've got a bearing on the inside. It looks like a skateboard bearing, tiny little thing. And then we've got what looks like a water seal on the outside. I need to figure out how they come out because this will all go off for blasting. So I've got 2 seals left to take out of that, and then that's ready to go. So that can stay over there. Right, so engine wise, I need to undo the crank bolt which holds the crank pinion on there. So for that I need to lock the engine. I need to take the generator off. For that I need to lock the engine. I need to take the clutch off and bring the clutch basket off. And for that might need to lock both sides of the clutch. Don't know how I'm going to do that because I haven't got a special tool for that. So I think first thing I'm going to do, I'll get the pressure plate off and all the plates out, keeping them in the right order because you don't want to get that wrong. All right, so I think clutch off first, and then we'll see where we go from there. All right, great. Okay, so clutch is out. So interestingly, the stiction of the oil on the clutch pulled it all out in one go, apart from the last plate. Right. Now the last plate here was still in there. All right. Trying to get it out with a magnet in the aluminium. Yeah, that don't work. So that's the last plate. But then inside that last plate, you've got these two kind of, I don't know what you call them. They're kind of like ring washer things, but they're kind of, as you can see, if I hold it, they spring open like that. They've got like an angle to them. I'm guessing that must be to stop any judder on the clutch. Nice idea. So they go in there on the inside of that ring there. All right, so I've got to keep all that in the same order as everything. Little bit of wear on the clutch basket itself, where the plates chatter a little bit inside them. I might dress that up with a needle file a little bit before I put it back together. It doesn't need a new basket. Basket's okay. It just needs a bit of a clean up just to make sure it doesn't get notchy on the clutch. The clutch itself, the plates, they're not brand new, but they're not worn out, so it's in really good condition. So we'll keep that as is. I don't think I need to replace anything in there, which is nice. Saved you some money, Rich. So yeah, that's the clutch. Where am I going to put that? Somewhere here. Then the clutch rod, which goes through, I pulled that out. This is the kind of plunger bit that pushes the plates open. And inside there is a ball bearing. Don't want to lose that, because that allows that to spin on the end of that shaft. So that's all there, ready. With the clutch springs are all nice. So now what I need to do is that clutch nut, that basket nut, it's got a little dimple knocked in it, so I'll straighten that out. Hit it with something, straighten it out again, and then I need to lock this, right? Because if I try and undo that nut, it will just spin. Right, now what you can get a special tool which is like a clutch plate, which holds the outside to the inside and then allows you to lock the engine and turn it. I haven't got one, so I don't know how tight that is. In the past, what I've done is kind of put something in numerous locations around there to kind of lock it, and then try and undo it there without damaging this or this, which can be a bit of a challenge. I'll see what I can do to get that undone. And you'll also notice I'll lock the engine, and I lock the engine with 2 blocks of wood and a socket extension, because that's the fattest bit of metal I could find that'll fit in that hole. You need something as fat as possible, go through there, and then when you try and turn the engine, obviously it can't, the crank can't go down, so the engine's sort of locked tight at that point. That worked alright. Nothing's so tight that it would damage the small end of the con rod, so that's fine. Right then, so I think I'll see what I've got lying around that I can put in there in numerous places to see if I can get that undone. That's the plan now. Okay, sit rep, right? So everything's off this side now. Clutch is all off and everything. So what I had to do, well, let's talk about this side first, right? So I've taken the sprocket off. I've taken the pickups off the flywheel. They've gone off now. They're over here. There's the pickups, and what I think is the neutral switch, which goes in hole down there as well. So that's off. The bolt's out the flywheel, but the flywheel's on a taper. Oh, I'm assuming it's on a taper. Most of them are. So I'm going to need to put my pullers on there to pull it off. I'm pretty sure there's a special tool that you can put in there and do it, but I haven't got one. So I'll use my pullers and pop it off there. So that's that side, almost ready. Then this side of the engine, here. Right, so clutch basket. What to fix the clutch center and the clutch basket? I tried first. I tried little wooden dowels, right, and I put a little wooden dowel in each one. Well, three or four of them around it, and I tried to hold it that way, but it wouldn't go. They weren't strong enough. So in the end, what I did was I got a load of little 7mm quarter drive sockets and took them in it, because if you put loads in, it spreads the load, right, and it's not too tight. Put them in, and with like using 4 hands and locking the engine, it undid. So that's all right. Didn't cause any damage to the basket or anything. That's great. So basket's off, center's off. There's some needle roller bearings on the clutch center that go in there, which are here. They go on there like that. That's what the clutch center rolls on. So that comes out like that, which is lovely. I'll tell you what, looking at how this clutch is machined and on the bearings and stuff, it's so nice. When I'm used to working on old British stuff that's made out of big lumps of pig iron, and this is so delicate and intricate and nicely machined. The difference between a 1958 Tribzer engine and a 1980 something Japanese engine, it's honestly, it's like light years difference in the space of 30 years or 40 years. Hang on, yeah, 30, 40, yeah, however long, right? But yeah, some massive difference in quality of metal and machining and everything. I remember actually people saying, "Oh yeah, you get a Japanese bike, they're all right, but you can't rebuild them like a Triumph." You can. Right, I'm doing it now. Anyway, so that's all off. Crank pulley, crank pinion is off. This like little kind of freewheel here, I think I need to take that off, because the crankcase is split from here to here. The crankcase is split that way, right? So, and I think that spans it, so that's got to come off. So there's that to take off, and the flywheel to take off. I think then, so that off that side, that off that side, and I think then I might be ready to split the case and expose my big end. So let's see how we get on. Right then, so bit of a stalling point now, right? So I got, what did I take off? I took off that side, that little kind of idler wheel, and there's a couple of little O-rings. Don't lose those if ever you take one of these off. So that's off now. That goes in there. Right, so all I'm left with now, before I can split the crankcase and expose my big end, is the flywheel generator. Right, so if I turn this around here so you can see it, I'll put a bit of wood under it. Put wood under there. Another bit of wood under here. Okay, so this bad boy, right? Now it's on a taper or a shaft with a key, whatever, one or the other. Can you see that? Yeah, kind of. Right, now, so I've tried my pullers on it. I can't quite get them around the back. Right, so I've been trying to pull it on just the edge, which isn't ideal, but there's nothing I could do. I was pulling and pulling and pulling, wouldn't have it. So then I tried heat. Right, it's still pretty hot now, but that wouldn't have it either. It just wouldn't budge. It was properly stuck on that shaft. Now I don't know if I can split the crankcase with that in place. I very much doubt it. I'm assuming the stator and the rotor have to come off in order to get that out, right? So I'm stuck at this point, right? So I've measured it in there, because there's an external thread around the inside of that hole, and then you've got the internal thread there, right? So I've measured it. It looks like it's 27 mil, right? So I had a look on eBay, and you can buy a tool to do it, the proper tool for the job. So that's what I've done, right? I've ordered the tool, kind of give up on it really. I mean, I could fight it, but I don't want to break anything, especially my fingers or my pullers. So yeah, unfortunately, a bit of an anticlimax. I was hoping to end this episode with the big reveal of my big end, but it's not going to happen. I've ordered the tool, should be here this week, so yeah, I'll have to wait till I get that, and then I can take it off. But you know, special tool, yeah, right tool for the job. You've got to do it, haven't you? So once I get the proper tool, that screws in there on that outside thread, and there's a bolt in the middle of it, and you wind the bolt in, and that pulls it out. That's the idea. All right, so I'm assuming it will come off a lot easier with the proper tool. Although I'll probably have to still give it some, because that is properly tight on there. Might never have been off. Who knows? So yeah, everything's off it apart from that bad boy. So stay tuned. Next episode, I will be pulling off the flywheel, splitting the cases, and extracting my big end. So thanks for watching, and have a nice week.